tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your very own S3 bucket. Now S3 stands for Simple Storage Solution. It was one of the first services that AWS offered, not the first, but one of the first services that AWS offered. S3 stands for Simple Storage Solution. S3 is used for storing flat files, and also known as pictures, videos, documents, HTML files, anything that can be stored anywhere except executables. You can't really store things like operating systems or executable files, programs, for example. That's not what S3 is used for. S3 is just a simple storage solution for you to take advantage of. So to get started, log into your AWS console via your own account or AWS Educate. Now there are 3 different ways that we can access S3 from the console. This is my personal account, so you can see all the services that I've played around with. And once you get there, you'll have recently visited services. You can just click S3. Another way that you can get there is by clicking Service up in the upper left-hand corner. And this will pull down all of the services for you. And then the last way, which I'll do, is clicking the search bar. Just type in S3 and click. Now once I click this, it's going to pull up all of my buckets. So I have quite a few buckets because I've been playing around with Amazon for a while, and S3 was one of the very first solutions that I learned to take advantage of. But for now, I'm going to show you how to create a bucket. So the first thing you'll do is go to the upper right-hand corner and click Create Bucket. Now we'll get to a very simple form. There's a lot of options here. For now, we won't go too far into many of these, but you can see I'll walk you through them as we go. The very first thing you're going to want to do is create a bucket name. Now you have to keep in mind that buckets are a global namespace, meaning everybody shares the same global namespace when they create their bucket. You can't create a my test bucket. Somebody probably already has. So I'll go ahead and create one. I'll come up with a name that I think will be unique. I'll put all my initials. RLS 2021 my demo bucket ITN 254. Now this is excessively long, so there's a good chance that this bucket will be available. Now regions, it really doesn't apply right now, but it will be important as you get into more advanced configurations. The bucket settings, again, not really important. That's more advanced topics that we'll cover later on. Now, what is important is the block public access setting for bucket. Now, this is important. The reason why this is important is because this will essentially determine whether or not you can share the files with other people. Now, one thing I will iterate later on when it comes to uploading a file is just because you can unclick this and not block all public access does not mean that the files that you upload will be automatically made public. Amazon follows the best practices of least privilege, meaning when you uncheck this solution, it means all objects have the ability to be public. So if I were to have this checked and I uploaded a file and tried to set it to public, I wouldn't be able to because the bucket policy states that it is blocking all public access. So I will not be able to do that. Now this isn't to be confused that if I were to uncheck this, upload something, it won't automatically be public. That will show how to do later on. But for now, I'm just going to uncheck that so that it can make objects available to be public. The next thing you do is go down, click I acknowledge these current settings, and basically saying, yeah, I'm sure I want to do this, and then scrolling down. Now there's bucket versioning. This is more advanced for later on. These are tags. Tags are important too as you start creating more vast infrastructure. It'll be good for keeping track of all the resources that you're configuring and keeping track of what's being connected to what. Encryption, not that important now. There are advanced settings. These also are important now for us beginning users. So I will click Create Bucket. And then if I scroll down, I will see RLS 2021 demo bucket, and I will click it. Now there's nothing in here right now, so what I'm going to do is show you how to upload a file to the bucket by clicking Upload, Add Files. Now there's so many things here. I'm just going to upload my resume. Then the next thing you want to do is check out some additional configurations. So there's additional upload options. These are storage classes. So to give you a couple extra facts about storage classes, the standard is one of the most broadly used storage class. It has normal retrieval times, it's unlimited storage, so you can put as much as you want. And then as you go down the list, all it does is get into the availability, how redundant is it going to be, or how much is it going to be archived. We can get into these later. But I will tell you that in the future, if you plan on saving or backing up files, I would highly recommend intelligent tiering, because the further down this list you go, the cheaper it gets. But things are affected as far as where your files are stored. Like Glacier Deep Archive, the retrieval times are longer. It can take 12 to 24 hours for your first bits of information to be downloaded because they're stored in such a deep archive. Now, I will tell you, most people, even myself, I use intelligent tiering. This takes advantage of machine learning, and you can set the policy essentially to, okay, he hasn't accessed this file in so long. He has it in standard, but it would be cheaper if he moves it down to either standard, IA, reduced redundancy, or if it's been 300 days since I've touched a file, it can archive it for me automatically. It's a nice convenient way to save some money, especially if you're going to be uploading a lot of information into the cloud. But we'll scroll on down. This is what's important. This is your access control list. Now, as you get deeper into the topics of AWS, this becomes more and more important to who can access this information. Now, I will tell you that what we're going to use is everyone, public access. I'm going to hit read, and then ACL again. I'm going to hit read. Going further down, I'm going to click read, and I'm going to click read. Of course, I understand that I want to make these objects public. There's some more options down below, such as adding tags, like we covered earlier. Tags are important to keep track of where all your resources have been allocated and knowing why you did something. So for example, I can hit name, my demo, upload, and then it's there. I'll hit add, upload, remove, because I make mistakes, and upload. Now you can see that my file has in fact been uploaded. I will click it, and you'll see my resume has been pulled up. Now there's a couple things to keep in mind, such as this format may look familiar from our previous class when accessing S3 from EC2. This format looks familiar for how we access objects on the internet. So this is the one we're going to try. So I'm going to click copy. That's what this means, by the way. If you just click that, it automatically copies it to your clipboard. Then I'm going to add a tab, paste, and there you can see it successfully uploaded my resume from S3. Going back to the console, there's other things you can do in here as well, such as permissions. If you remember this from earlier, the access control list, if I edit, I can change these as well. But if I didn't set my bucket control policy to allow objects to become public, these options wouldn't be available because the bucket policy overrides the object policy. And since I am on rickyspringerresume.pdf, this is an object policy, where when creating a bucket, that was what we call a bucket policy. So your bucket policy has to allow the objects to be able to be public. Now, I will show you where you can find more information about S3. There's so much to learn as far as pricing, availability, boosting performance in S3, and we can access that by going to aws.amazon.s/S3. And there is a ton of information in here. AWS does and Amazon do a fantastic job with giving you more information. And trust me, from my learning, there is a ton of information to learn. So I hope this is helpful to everybody. One more thing I will go over is how to delete the bucket. Now, there is one thing to keep in mind. You're not allowed to delete buckets that have objects in them. So one of the things I'll show you is I'll try. I'll click the bucket. I'll hit delete. This bucket is not empty. This is another way that Amazon is looking out for you to make sure that you're really sure you want to delete that stuff. So if I go back to S3, my bucket, click, delete, it's going to ask me, am I sure? Perm and permanent. Bad at this. Delete. Delete. Now, if I go back to S3, go back to my bucket, hit delete. Are you sure? Type in the name of the bucket, RLS 2021, my demo bucket ITN 254. Then you'll see at the top, successfully deleted the bucket. I hope this has been helpful to everybody. I will continue making videos as we go over stuff in class and more information of topics that I've learned about. If this has been helpful, please let me know. I'll be happy to keep making these videos. Till then, have a good evening and have fun in the cloud.